Hi, mathematical thinkers. Welcome back. It's been a while since I've recorded a lesson. This is the beginning of Unit 8, Lesson 8.1. We're going to be learning about rates and ratios and proportions. Here's the learning target for this lesson. I will be able to use proportions to model, summarize, and solve rate problems. I will be able to solve rate problems using unit rates and rate tables, and I will be able to summarize rate situations in words. And here is our new vocabulary: rate, per unit rate, a rate table, an equivalent rate, and a proportion. So here's a definition of rate. A rate is a comparison of two quantities, two amounts that have different units. And here are some examples. 70 pages read in 2 minutes would be an example of a rate, two different units, pages and minutes, or $2.99 per pound for a pound of tomatoes. So we've got dollars and pounds. Or they set up 18 chairs per row for the music program. So we've got chairs and rows. So here are two problems that we're going to be working on. A computer printer prints 70 pages in 2 minutes. How many pages will it print in 5 minutes? And then a second problem, Anave trains at an indoor track. She runs 24 laps in 8 minutes. At this rate, how many laps can she run in 12 minutes? So both of these are examples of rate problems looking at quantities. So there are two ways that we could solve these problems. One is called the per unit rate. So let's go back to that first problem. A computer printer prints 70 pages in 2 minutes. How many pages will it print in 5 minutes? So the number of pages that you can print in 1 minute is an example of per unit rate. Rates like this are often written as 35 pages per minute. All right, so the steps in solving this problem would be, first of all, find the number of pages printed in 1 minute. Because 70 pages are printed in 2 minutes, the number of pages printed in 1 minute will be 70 divided by 2, or 35 pages per minute. Now, once you know the number of pages printed in 1 minute, to find the number of pages printed in 5 minutes, we'll just multiply 5 times 35. So again, I can do that, 35 pages in 1 minute times 5 minutes. So this represents pages, that's 1 unit. This represents minutes, that's the other. So in 5 minutes, the computer will print 175 pages. Just put PG. So again, this example showed us a per unit rate. 70 pages in 2 minutes. We figured out how many pages in 1 minute. 70 divided by 2. We took that amount and multiplied by the 5 minutes that we were allotted to end up with 175 pages. So this is an example of a per unit rate. So a lot of times we do that when we get gas, $3.39 per gallon times the number of gallons that we purchase equals the amount that we spend. A second method for solving this type of problem is called a rate table. And a rate table looks like a what's my rule table, except that it's horizontal instead of vertical. So that problem we just did, we said the computer can print 70 pages in 2 minutes. How many can it print in 5 minutes? So that's our question mark. So one advantage to using a rate table is that you can usually fill something in. You can make progress step by step. So if we look at this, the number, these are the number of pages, these are the number of minutes, and we label that. The numbers in the third column, this column, are right here, third, 1, 2, 3. The numbers in the third column are going to be twice the numbers in the fourth column because these are going to represent minutes, 3, 4. So 4 is twice as many as 2, so 140 is twice as many as 70, okay? And the number in the second column is going to be halfway between these, which is going to be 105. Okay, we could combine um, this, and so we now know that the increments we can see are going up by 35. So then we'll know that this missing number is going to be 175, 35 more than 140. So this is an example of a rate column, or excuse me, a rate table. So now let's make a rate table for problem 2. And here's that problem again. Anave trains at an indoor track. She can run 24 laps in 8 minutes. How many laps can she run in 12 minutes? So here's our 24 laps in 8. Okay. So we want to know how much she can go in 12. So let's think about, first of all, back to our first example, the per unit rate. 24 laps in 8 minutes. How many laps per minute? 24 divided by 8 would give us 3 laps in 1 minute. That would be the per unit. So in 2 minutes, twice as much. Okay. And in 3 minutes, 9, because we're increasing by 3 each time. So 4 minutes is 12. And we could continue to fill in the table, okay? Or we could look and just say what's going to happen in 12 minutes. In 5 minutes, 15. In 6 minutes, 18, okay? In 12 minutes, the relationship is times 3. So in 12 minutes, 36 laps. Okay, this is the example of the rate table. So we've got two methods. The per unit rate, find out how much you can do in 1 unit, and then multiply that by the number of things you're doing, or make a rate table where you just fill in the increments. We can also make proportions to solve rate problems. So I'll use my pen here, back to that first one. 70 pages in 2 minutes equals number of pages in 5 minutes. And we found through solving the problem that it was 175 pages. So this is an example of a proportion. This is our original rate, and this is our equivalent rate. So these proportions or these rates are equivalent. This number model is an example of a proportion. And we could do the same thing with Anave. 24 laps in 8 minutes. And I'll just put L for laps and M for minutes, is equivalent to 36 laps in 12 minutes. So these are examples of our original rate, our equivalent rate, also known as proportions. So in this unit, you will be working a lot on rates, ratios, and proportions. Now you're ready to work in your journal. Thanks for listening.